Along with Dave Despain. Jeremy McGrath has won all 3 events so far this season, and it doesn't seem to matter what kind of track he races on or whether he gets a late start or not. Even the earthquake couldn't shake this young Californian. But he has a new challenge this week, Dave.
He beat the bad start in Houston, eclipsed the earthquake in Anaheim. Can he fend off the flu here in San Diego? Most of us have had it, know how bad we felt. Imagine Jeremy's situation. The good news is he's kind of on the back side of it. He's actually feeling a little bit better. But with the respiratory problem, here's the opportunity for a Stanton or a LaRocco, a Kiedrowski, maybe a Ward or an Emig, all these guys who've been close to have a shot at Jeremy.
Last week's race, even though it was early in the season, could be looked upon later as the turning point of the points race. Jeremy McGrath had dominated Orlando. The first race of the season came from behind in Houston and was gunning for his 3rd straight win here in Anaheim. It was Larry Ward with the whole shot. He proved he had a quick bike in all of the first 3 races.
This was actually a terrific race for a little while. You see Jeremy, number 1, in 3rd spot in the early running as Ward and number 6, Jeff Emig, got out front. The guy we're all concerned about at this point is Mike LaRocco, who was back in the traffic, and he'll be the turning point.
Emig, Ward, and McGrath, and Stanton on his way to his best race of the year in 4th currently.
Jeremy, for the 2nd time in a row, having to work his way through the traffic, and as you see there, his pass on Ward, very effective. Just find a different line, get up alongside Emig, put the pressure on. Although, as you see, the guys are determined to beat him. There are a lot of people who want to beat Jeremy. There aren't a lot of people who are able. Here's the big deal.
Mike LaRocco casing it on a triple, and the crankcase broke.
Mike LaRocco is the one man who's consistently been able to go as fast as Jeremy. His championship hopes took a huge hit right there.
As the camera followed LaRocco, Skip Norfolk, McGrath's mechanic, had on the pit board hide, and that's what he's going to try to do right now. Run out and hide, but Emig came back to become only the 2nd rider this year to retake a lead from Jeremy McGrath.
He hasn't been passed a lot. Larry Ward, number 11, is one of the other guys who did that. He did it on the first lap at Houston. He's in a great race here with Jeff Stanton, who continues to show periodic flashes of brilliance, interrupted by occasional bits of bad luck.
Anaheim, a significant race for all of these riders because of many of the factories are based in the same area. McGrath looking up at Emig as if to say, what do you think you're doing?
We've talked about the bad blood between these two. They don't like each other. They love to beat each other. And McGrath went on his way after getting around Emig, who started going back.
Stanton moving into 2nd place. Emig fading just a bit, went off the track at one time and finished 5th in this race as Jeremy McGrath taking his 3rd consecutive victory. Motor World 2's Jerry Bernardo talked with Mike LaRocco about his problems of last week.
Okay, thanks, guys. We're down here in the pits with Mike LaRocco. Mike, last week, a little tragedy in the beginning of the race. Can you just tell us what happened?
Yeah, there was a little triple after a set of whoops, and I came up a little short on it, and when I did that, it broke the cases on my bike and, you know, knocked me out of the race.
Okay, so what's your outlook on the rest of the season?
Well, all I can really do is, you know, go out and win as many races as I can, and hopefully I'll have a little luck and get back in the points race.
Okay, that's it. Backed up to you guys in the booth.
Getting set for qualifying heat number 1 here in San Diego. Mike Kiedrowski, Emig, Henry, some of the notables in this heat. We'll be back in a moment. The track here in San Diego has a hard pack underneath a rain-soaked surface. Most of the riders expecting it to be rather ruddy as they compete here today.
And here's the way it lays out. Very busy, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen. A lot of tight stuff. Best passing opportunities are going to be these long runs along the bottom of your screen and over on the right-hand side where the whoop-de-doos are the key to making the pass.
Last year in San Diego, Jeremy McGrath took his 3rd win as we get set for the first qualifying heat. You see Emig right next to Mike Kiedrowski. Jeff Stanton is also on the line. And to qualify for the main event, 4 riders from each of 2 heats go directly to the main. Then the others go to the semifinals, 5 top riders. And then the last chance, 2 riders transfer to the main event out of the last chance qualifying. 20 riders competing in the 20-lap main event.
Start is so critical, Art, and Mike Kiedrowski has been trying all year to figure out how to get them. Bad starts have really plagued the Kawasaki star. Let's see if he's got that problem solved here tonight.
These are highlights from our first qualifying heat. Kiedrowski will get that start, Dave, along with Jeff Emig and Jeff Stanton out in front. Emig actually got the whole shot in this first qualifying heat.
Look at the traffic jam here through turn 1. We're accustomed to seeing that. The interesting thing in this race is the traffic jam that continued up front most of the way. Emig had pressure. He on number 6, and Kiedrowski number 3 indeed did get away very well.
Stanton looked very tough here in the early going as he edged into second place in front of Kiedrowski.
Now, we talked in the Anaheim summary about the fire that number 5 Stanton has shown this year. And you saw it there in the move on Emig, but number 3 Mike Kiedrowski comes zinging right past Jeff and goes after the leader.
Kiedrowski getting better each week, getting stronger, and here's Stanton. Stanton behind Henry, battling with his own teammate in the qualifying heat, takes it wide, and then later runs into trouble as Kiedrowski puts the pressure on Emig.
Watch the left-hand side of the screen. Jeff Stanton loses it on the landing over the jump and crashes himself out of 4th place.
Jeff, a 3rd place finish in the first race of the year, 5th in the second, is coming off a 2nd place finish last week. Let's take another look.
Basically, it looks like Stanton landed on the hay bale. I think he was too far to the left. The bale caught his foot, pulled it back off the bike, and he just couldn't hang on to the handlebars.
Meanwhile, Kiedrowski has an outstanding battle with Jeff Emig out front.
We've seen a lot of Emig up front this year. First time Kiedrowski's really been up there and challenging, and once he got there, he knew how to behave. He puts the good line on Emig and takes the lead.
Kiedrowski seemingly now getting his speed back and rhythm as he goes through the whoops.
So much of this game is in the starts, Art. It's easy to get the rhythm if you're running up front.
Honda Steve Lamson inheriting 4th. Very steady performance as he's had all year long.
All those good Honda guys out there, when one has bad luck, that means another one's going to benefit from it. Here's Kiedrowski's first significant performance of the year. Way to go, Mike.
We'll see if that performance can transcend into an outstanding performance in the main event, as he will go directly there with Emig, Henry, and Lamson. Jerry Bernardo talked with MK.
Mike, you obviously practiced your starts. You didn't hang behind Emig. How was that?
Well, you know, I got off to a good start. We did a lot of work on our bike this week, and it just, at the beginning of the series, we couldn't get starts on our bikes. We kept wheeling in, and so I think we figured it out. I got some different suspension that'll kind of balance out the bike on the start, so it sure paid off, and I think I'm going to be up there in the main.
And more competitors looking to go directly to the main event out of qualifying heat number 2 as we watch the highlights. Jeremy McGrath, Michael Craig, Jeff Matasevich, Mike LaRocco, Larry Ward, Brian Swink, just to name a few in heat number 2.
My question is, how is McGrath going to handle him? This is the first real test. Racked by the flu all week. He's got to go out and do business now. If I were him, I'd rather be home in bed.
And the surface of this track is not the best, of course. You've got to keep a concentration all the way. Jeff Matasevich with a good start. And Jeremy McGrath also, along with Swink.
Looks like Michael Craig who's going to come out. Here's the traffic jam through the first turn. It's Craig the leader, and McGrath got a good start. He's out in second, right up alongside Craig and into the lead. Hey, who cares if he's got the flu?
21 is Matasevich. And then you have Brian Swink, number 10. Number 11 is Larry Ward. Here in qualifying heat number 2, these are highlights. And Jeremy hits the deck for the first time.
He got the rhythm wrong on the whoops, had to step off, as you noticed, took Michael Craig with him, which is real unfortunate because Craig had a good thing going there for a little while. Take a look at the replay, and you'll see how the front end got away from him. Let's get him fired back up and out of the way first. Here you go. He has to step off with the right foot into the whoop. Then the front end plows into the next berm. Craig's behind him at speed, nowhere to go, and they're both down.
So it leaves Jeff Matasevich out in front with Mike LaRocco in hot pursuit. Remember, the top 4 out of this heat go directly to the main, and here's Larry Ward battling with Brian Swink. 4th, 3rd, and 4th. The story in this one was the comeback of Michael Craig, number 19. You notice that Jeremy needed a long time to get his bike fired up, so as the leaders took off, McGrath was pretty well relegated to the semifinal. Craig had a shot at catching these guys. Jeff Matasevich, a privateer, as we've mentioned in previous broadcasts, but he has proven that that privateer bike is very quick at the start.
I think LaRocco is the second fastest man in the series right now, and Matasevich stayed ahead of him for a little while, but eventually LaRocco found a way around and was able to win the thing. Here he comes up and challenges Matasevich on the inside over the jump, takes the lead.
LaRocco will go on to victory in this qualifying heat. The Chicken, Jeff Matasevich, right behind him, along with Larry Ward and Brian Swank. But here's number 19. A terrific effort by Michael Craig to try to get that final transfer spot away from Brian Swank.
LaRocco is sorting out the racetrack now. Once you get into the lead, you do some homework for the main event and then style a little for the fans.
And Craig, about a bike length behind Swink, just doesn't have quite enough time to catch up with him.
Got around Swink once. He couldn't make it stick. Swink passed him back and held on for the transfer.
So going directly to the main is Mike LaRocco in his number 7 Kawasaki, along with number 21, the Privateer on a Yamaha. Jeff Matasevich, Larry Ward, and Brian Swink. Jerry Bernardo talked with Mike.
Mike, a little misfortune with the guys up front let you capitalize on Chicken. How was that?
That was good. I'll take anything I can get right now. So, you know, work my way. Hopefully I'll do that in the main.
That was short and sweet. Thanks.
Never one for long-winded conversations, Dave. Our Jerry Bernardo later talked with the flu-fatigued Jeremy McGrath about having to go to the semifinals.
Okay, Jeremy, leading heat race 2. You got in a little jam with Mike Craig. Tell us what happened.
Oh, just a little bit. I kind of messed up a little bit, and then he kind of ran in the back of me. He didn't, I don't know, he just didn't put on his brakes, I guess. I don't know what happened. But
And then you dropped way back, and that was it?
yeah, I was just checking. I mean, I figured it'd be kind of long shot to qualify. I tried to get up fast, but had to kick my bike about 3 or 4 times, so it took a little longer, but I'm all right.
I was standing right there. Were you aware that when you were crouched down with Craig, bikes were like going right over your head?
Yeah, I had to duck once because someone jumped over my head, but I'm all right. You know, just kind of give me more
A little more oomph for the next try out there.
well, go look at the track a little bit more, and everything will be all right.
Cool. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks.
The highlights of the first of 2 semifinal rounds when we return to Supercross action. Looking to do well along with Brooks, possibly Palmer, Kalos, Dubach.
Stanton ought to make pretty easy work of these guys, but as you'll see, that's not exactly what happens here.
Stanton really has to work hard behind number 12, Cliff Palmer. Palmer on the only European machine in Supercross, the KTM. And Palmer really has not had what they expected breaking out of the gate on this season. He's had a 10th, a 9th, and a 12th in the 3 previous races. They get underway, and it's Palmer getting the hole shot, number 12. Dubach is right behind him.
Palmer is very pumped up about his KTM ride. It's the opportunity to show what he can do on factory equipment, albeit the bike that many people view as an underdog. When you put it out in front of Jeff Stanton, you're doing something.
Stanton really has a lot of trouble getting around Palmer. Palmer taking the good lines and a steady ride here in the semifinals.
Now, he's inspired. You know, when you've got the 3-time champion behind you, it pumps you up. It keeps you thinking forward. And as you see, Stanton's making little mistakes. He was just a little off the line through the whoops there. Stanton on the outside and Palmer down on the inside and controlling the race at this point.
Stanton with a real tough time in Houston, crashing in a battle with Larry Ward. Takes over the lead here in the semifinals.
Watch what happens. You would think, well, that's it. That's the story. Stanton's by, Stanton's gone. Palmer didn't give up. He hung with Jeff Stanton all the way to the end of this thing. I think it was a fine performance. Perhaps he's thinking, hey, with Guy Cooper out of here, somebody's got to represent the state of Oklahoma, and I'm just the man who can do it.
Palmer hugs right next to Stanton most of the way. And way back, fighting for the other spots to go to the main, number 32, Doug Dubach, in his 2nd race of the season. He's racing a selected schedule this year. Took an 11th in Anaheim. He's in front of Sean Kalos out of Phoenix, Arizona.
The big gap from those guys to these guys says a lot about lap times. The leaders are cutting a whole bunch quicker laps. Look at Cliff Palmer pressure Jeff Stanton all the way to the line. And look at Stanton showing off at the checkered flag. You don't see that a lot.
So Jeff Stanton, as Doug Dubach comes across the finish line in 3rd place. Let's take a look at the top riders who will not have to go to the last chance qualifying, but will go directly to the main. Jerry Bernardo caught up with Jeff Stanton.
Okay, Jeff, after you got in front of Cliff Palmer, you're having a little trouble losing him. Did you realize he was right on you?
No reason to win by a big margin. Save it for the main. Go out there and kick their butt in the main.
I heard maybe something about the bike. Is the bike running good?
Perfect.
Short and sweet. That's what we like to hear. So you think you'll do good in the main?
I'm ready.
Okay, Cliff Palmer, that was one of the best races we've seen out of you this year at Supercross. How did you feel?
Oh, I felt great. Everything seemed to be working pretty good tonight. I like the track. My KTM's working real good, and everything just felt great.
Getting ready for the main?
Yeah, I sure hope so. I hope to pull a start about the same way as I did and maybe lead a couple laps.
All right, good luck, kid.
All right, thanks a lot.
You gotta like that kid. It's so much fun to see somebody new do well. They get all pumped up when that TV camera comes around.
Getting set for the second semifinal round, and of course Jeremy McGrath, unfortunate with going down on the track in the qualifying heat. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to have to waste this energy after having the flu all week long. Should he not qualify here, that could be devastating, having to go to the last chance.
Exactly right. This is 10 laps. He does not want to have to ride, and so what he needs to do is ride it very well. Craig's got another hole shot.
Michael Craig and Jeremy McGrath in good position behind him, though.
And it gets better when 26, Todd DeHoot, kind of tips over and tangles up the traffic. That lets Jeremy slip through into second spot.
Number 82 in third is Chris Young. Here's Michael Craig out in front. His bike has been showing very fast, especially in the early going.
Now, the two guys who had trouble in the same heat race end up 1-2 in the same semi. Here's the surprise. Number 180 is Ron Lechien. Yeah, that Ron Lechien, a guy many have called the most talented motocrosser ever to come along. Long story of difficulties with the law and all kinds of problems for Lechien that basically torpedoed what could have been a great career. Here he is, what, 25, 26 years old, making a comeback.
The Dogger certainly is a happy man right now as he's cleaned up his act. Former 125 champion, and he's trying to dog right now Chris Young. Young looking pretty quick in front of the veteran.
This is a privateer Kawasaki that Lechien is riding, and it was a last-minute deal. He's given it a good ride.
A local favorite from the San Diego area, Michael Craig, out in front of Jeremy McGrath and not working really that hard.
Now, Jeremy doesn't need to beat Craig here. This is a semi-final. You just got to put her in the main, save your energy.
Ron Lechien gets the transfer, does not have to go to the last qualifying chance. As we go to Craig, McGrath, Lechien, Lewis, and Ashkenazi. And Moto World 2's Jerry Bernardo spoke with Craig.
Mike Craig, it's great to see you. Tell us how your race went.
Felt really good. McGrath is behind me. I felt my laps were fast as his or faster. My qualifier, I jumped on him on accident. I mean, the guy's a good guy. Never did it on purpose, but that's racing. I got up. I'm here in front of the hometown crowd, and I looked at myself. I was probably back about 10th. I said, hey, if these guys pay some good money to come here and watch me, I'm going to give them a hell of a show.
Good job, kid.
Thanks.
In the last chance qualifier, Rich Taylor will get at least expenses as he makes the main along with Mike Chamberlain. Good crowd on hand at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego despite the recent rains, and we'll be back with the 125 main in a moment. It's a cool... Time for the 125s and the upcoming stars. There you see number 20, Damon Huffman. He's the leading points man in the western region. Huffman getting advice from his mechanic just prior, trying to relax a little bit. He's had a fast bike, winning in Anaheim. Taking a third when both the East and West Division met in Houston. Pedro Gonzalez with good finishes so far, a sixth and a second. Number 2 in the points race. He's number 86 as we go down the line.
From what we've seen thus far this season, I think there's a real chance that Huffman could blow this class out the same way Jeremy is the 250 class, at least in the West. He's very, very fast.
He's the lone veteran in the West since Gaddis and Lawrence graduated out of 125s, and we get set for the Western Regional from San Diego. And the 125 action getting a good start. Number 22, Ryan Hughes, and Mike Metzger, number 85, lands on his head backwards. The heat winner in one of the heats. Damon Huffman's also down. Dave Pingree is also in that mess. Number 90, Pingree.
2 of the top 5 in the series points tangled big time. 85 down. Metzger just pogos right into Damon Huffman. They both took horrendous licks. Metzger as he went face first into the dirt, and Huffman when Metzger's bike hit him.
A great break, though, for Ryan Hughes, who's coming off an absolute awful week and a half. His father passed away last week. He crashed at Anaheim, of course, with a lot more on his mind than racing. Here's Pedro Gonzalez. Pedro, after a second-place finish in his last race in Anaheim.
And racing with Frederic Vial, the Frenchman, making it an international showdown here.
As we continue our highlights, number 84 is Tony Graves out of Creswell, Oregon. And it's Pedro Gonzalez getting the inside track on Tony here.
Gonzalez has very, very good form. He just ran out of competition in Mexico and decided to come to America, try his hand at Supercross. He's fast.
Ryan Hughes taking a considerable lead out in front after the first turn crash.
Well, with Damon Huffman, the primary challenger, stuck way in the back as a result of the crash. Way in the back temporarily, I might add. Look at him come through the traffic. It was a big break for Hughes.
Huffman, the fastest bike on the track, does a magnificent job at coming back from 19th place. Likewise, an inspiring performance from Ryan Hughes, who placed 6th in the heat race. Was not running that fast at all, but he's got the good break, and let's see if he can take advantage of it.
20-year-old kid with a lot of speed. I think we're going to hear a lot more from Rhino before this year is out. And boy, what about Huffman? Look at him coming through the traffic. He's caught the Frenchman Vial.
Huffman has come all the way from 19th now to 5th as he passed Vial, and has his sights geared into passing Decker next.
Yeah, 5th and climbing. He's not going to stop there. Once you get into that terrific rhythm, you can get by people, and that's what he's doing. Next in sight is indeed Decker.
He said after the race, hey, I didn't care if I crashed. I wanted to get back up front.
Which is not the smartest thing in the world to do, because he's still out to win the championship. Yeah, it's terrific to watch, but you got to think title. That's the key to future success. For the moment, it's just cheering crowds and the thrill and the potential to go up there and win the race.
Yeah, Damon Huffman has proved that he's speedy. There's no question. He's doing it right here as he has his sights on Pedro Gonzalez after passing Decker. Pedro currently in 2nd place. Just couldn't keep up the pace.
We know this kid has the potential to win races. What earns your big paycheck for years to come is winning championships, so he needs to be careful.
And Decker, of course, a 3rd-place finisher behind Gonzalez and Huffman in the last race at Anaheim. So Huffman's by Decker and is going to take on Pedro Gonzalez. Now, Pedro felt after this race very miserable because he needed to pick up the pace and not react to the pressure. And that's the one learning experience that Pedro is going to have to go through.
Well, he had the opportunity here to gain some serious points on Huffman, with Huffman in the back and crashed. And once Huffman caught up with him, Gonzalez knew, now I got to beat this guy. I need to finish in front of him, and he just wasn't up to it.
Out of the whoops, Huffman makes his move.
In Pedro's defense, nobody was up to it. I mean, he passed everybody out there except Rhino, and Rhino was so far gone by the time Damon got loose of the traffic, there was no catching him.
That pass was made with 1 lap to go. And time ran out for Huffman as Hughes takes his very first Supercross victory. Damon Huffman, 2nd place. Pedro Gonzalez holding on for 3rd. There you see the top 5 with Decker and Vial rounding it out. Certainly international flavor in the top 5 as we look at the second 5 rounding out that top 10. Jerry Bernardo talking with our winner, Ryan Hughes.
Excellent ride. First time ever. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah, I've been having a tough time lately since my dad died, you know, and I just want to come out here and win it for my dad and win it for some fans back home. You know, it means a lot to me. You know, I've been really trying hard, but it's hard to get over him, you know, and this really makes me feel good. And I hope my dad is up there watching.
Good ride, buddy. Excellent.
An emotional moment in San Diego as Huffman leads the points race by 10 over a disappointed Pedro Gonzalez.
Pedro Gonzalez, 2nd time on the podium, back-to-back. How'd you feel?
So I feel great. I don't know. I lose my head in the race, but I think I ride good. I will try more harder next time.
Did you know Huffman was pulling on you and finally nabbed you for 2nd?
Yeah, I feel Huffman come behind me, and well, I make a mistake, and he passed me, but I think the point is that I'm in the podium. I try to keep all the points what I can, but next time I will try more harder.
Good job, though. Excellent. Back-to-back on the podium. Good job.
Thank you.
Damon Huffman providing much of the excitement after the first turn crash in his comeback effort. He talked with Jerry after the race.
All right, Damon, first of all, tell us about the crash.
Well, I had a good start, actually, and the guys from the inside just came out and just slammed me against the hay bales, and I had a bike that just came flying across and caught my leathers right there, but, you know, it gave me a Charlie horse, and I just got up, regrouped, and rode my hardest, and put everything I had into it, you know, and my Suzuki ran great the whole time. It was even a little bent up, and it wasn't 100%, but, you know, there's enough fight there to give me up to second.
The 125 winner, Ryan Hughes, saying this one was for Dad. The 250 main event coming up next on Supercross Action. Welcome back to AMA Supercross Action. Art Ekman along with Dave Despain as we get set. There's Michael Craig getting his first full factory ride this year after partial support last year. He proved to be fast, but the pressure got to him.
I think at Pontiac, that one race when I was leading it and I crashed, I wasn't really thinking too much. You know, I was thinking just going out there and just, you know, trying to make everybody look as bad as possible and try to, you know, show how fast I was. And it was kind of stupid on my part. But, you know, I think winning if I do win my first Supercross, I think that it's going to boost me up and give me a lot more confidence. And I think that's what I need right now, you know.
He inherited Damon Bradshaw's ride and Damon's mechanic.
Well, I think Mike is, I think our first step is try and get Mike on the podium every week. That's the biggest thing we're working on right now with him. And I think after that is to win a race. And then after that, we'll go from there. But first of all, you know, you have to walk before you can run. And that's what we're working on right now is walking. And we're getting pretty close to that running spot at the moment.
Michael Craig isn't one of your young hotshot supercrossers. One of the stabilizing factors of his life, his wife Joanne and 2 sons.
I think being married and having kids is it's kind of beneficial towards me because, you know, when I come home from practicing or training, I think that, you know, I don't have to go out at night and do whatever all the single guys do. That's kind of like going out and having fun with their friends. I come home to my family. We go out to dinner or we take the kids out somewhere, and it just kind of keeps me around the house and keeps me on the right track of, you know, what it takes to become a champion in motocross.
Craig finished in the top 10 in the first 3 races of the season. He's got his sights set on number 1. He says Jeremy is beatable.
Yeah, Jeremy is a really good rider, and I think he is beatable. This year, a lot of guys, there's 19 other guys sitting on the starting group that want to beat him, and I'm definitely one of them. You know, every time after the race, I see him getting all the glory, and it just kind of makes me mad. You know, him sitting there taking everything away from everybody else, but, you know, he works for it. He deserves it, but I don't like it, and coming into San Diego, I'm going to try to stop him.
Okay, we're just about set for the main event from San Diego, California. 250 action. Kiedrowski hopes to take advantage of his great start in the heat qualifying.
Be interesting to see against the rest of the good guys whether those changes they've made in that bike are going to stand up.
Jeremy McGrath, of course, after the crash in the early going and qualifying, coming back to make the main event of the semifinals. Let's see how he does and holds up under those cold and flu conditions. Just seconds away from the start of the main event. And they're off. Matiasevich with a good start. Number 21, Kyle Lewis on the outside. McGrath behind him. Craig is on the inside, and we've got a first turn crash. It's Ron Lechien, the former 125 champion, going down. Kalos and Palmer got caught up at the same time. But it's Chicken, Jeff Matiasevich, coming out of the first turn in first place.
Where's Jeremy McGrath? Looks like about 10th by my count. Number 1's got a lot of catching up to do. This should be interesting.
It's Matiasevich, then Craig, Emig, Ward, LaRocco, and then Jeremy McGrath.
Here's a couple of guys with something to prove. I'm surprised to see Matiasevich looking back over his shoulder on the first lap. I mean, you know somebody's going to be back there. Does it really matter who it is?
Michael Craig, with the fast machine in his hometown, has taken on the leader right now in Jeff Matiasevich. There's lapse number 4. 7, LaRocco with a banging of the bike with number 1, Jeremy McGrath.
Those are the 2 hot dogs of the series thus far, and they're hooked up in a battle early, but it is the battle for 4th and 5th. They've got catching up to do.
Out front, Matiasevich and Craig.
Boy, if Matiasevich could make this stick, this would be a career moment. We talked last week about the pressure he's under to do well in 1994. If he doesn't, he's history. Doing well would be winning this race.
Jeremy McGrath is dialed in on his teammate Lamson, and he passes him on the jump.
Lamson came up short. He saw him casing it a little bit. The bike almost stopped, and McGrath just shot by. Great move.
So already, McGrath has moved into third. Matiasevich, your leader. The favorite, McGrath, is in third, so he's moved up in a good position as we look at the battle out front with Matiasevich, who's done a great job as a privateer this year. Michael Craig getting by him now after a good start 2 weeks ago in Houston. Never dropped below fourth and finished right there. Craig is looking for his best finish of the season.
That looked pretty easy to me. Not much resistance from Matiasevich there. He may be tired because Craig just zipped by him with seemingly no effort at all.
A first lap crash in Houston, but he went from last to 10th in 8 laps and finished up 9th in that race.
You know who we haven't seen is my pick to be series champion this year, Jeff Stanton. He's back there somewhere.
Mike LaRocco, right with McGrath, is in fourth, with Mike Kudrowski in fifth. Lamson, Emig, seventh. Stanton has dropped from 8th to 13th. Something's wrong there. Michael Craig out in front. Jeff Matiasevich, number 2. Lamson is looking pretty strong behind LaRocco now.
Yeah, he's gaining some ground, and I'm wondering about Jeremy now. Is he sitting back saving his strength? He's close enough to the leaders to make a pass. Is he going to wait and conserve his energy and do it late in the race, or is he going to go for it?
Looks like to me he's saving his energy right now.
That would make sense to me.
Craig wants to take advantage of it. He would like to pull a lead right here and have Matiasevich hold up McGrath.
We saw in that feature earlier what happened when he was racing Jeremy last year for the victory. He crashed. Jeremy went on and won. He's hoping to turn the tables here tonight. Matiasevich doing well here. After Craig passed him, I thought he'd do the fast fade. He held off McGrath for a long time, but there goes Jeremy.
Jeremy with the pass on chicken. LaRocco will be the next to take on Jeff Matiasevich for that third place spot. Meanwhile, Craig continues to lead, but he's not pulling away. There's no one to prevent Jeremy from making his move.
Get glimpses of number 3, Mike Kudrowski, periodically. He is fifth, and in the middle of what's shaping up is a pretty good 3-man battle. Look out.
LaRocco moving into third place. He's got the good angle this time.
Yeah, but Matiasevich hung with him for a long time. Jeff's riding very well tonight.
We might just be seeing the difference between a factory-prepared bike and a privateer right here as he's following LaRocco, and LaRocco runs it in the corner. Matiasevich also gets tangled up. A bad break for Jeff and LaRocco, who was, well, the only challenger to McGrath before this race.
Well, you take another look at it. Watch the front wheel on the number 7 bike. Ooh, slips out of the rut and plants LaRocco's face in the dirt, and Matiasevich can't get around him.
Mike Kudrowski, the opportunist, taking over third now as we see Craig and Jeremy McGrath out in front. And the comeback effort now by LaRocco, passing Swink on the inside. Swink slid out on that corner.
You saw Swink get hung up for just a moment behind LaRocco, then get past him. Now LaRocco has passed him back. Mike's on the move.
AMA Supercross as we see Michael Craig near his hometown of San Diego out in front of the defending champion Jeremy McGrath. Here's the battle for fourth. Lamson, Emig on the gas, and he outjumps Lamson with the triple.
That was pretty, wasn't it? Just beautiful. Nice move by Emig. That'll put him inside the top 4. Can he run down Kudrowski? Hey, he's pretty motivated to try to do that. Jeremy McGrath continuing to just ride at the pace of the number 19 bike. Not try to get up there and mix it up with Craig, save it for late.
Craig's new conditioning program might come into effect here, Dave.
Yeah, he was first to admit last year that a lot of his crashes were caused by the fact that he got tired. Now Michael Craig is getting up early in the morning, going out and running. He's got Brian Lunas beating on him constantly to do that physical conditioning. Keep in mind the guy's 25 years old. I mean, that's Jeff Stanton's age. He's not a kid.
Mike Kudrowski in third place, picking up a bit right now. Mike with an 8th and a 15th before last week's 4th, where he seemed to recapture his rhythm last week, is certainly showing now that he wants to get back into the fray.
This is a lot more like what we expected of Mike Kudrowski than what we saw in the first couple of races. It had to be so devastating to start the season so badly.
Jeremy, though, can't afford to lay back too far as Michael Craig is putting a little test to him to stay close. Kudrowski in third. He's got a lot of room in front of him.
Nobody's doing much right now, are they, Art? It's kind of single file and around here for a while, letting the laps run down. Our natural inclination, of course, is to try to make every lap the most exciting thing in history. Frankly, this is a bit dull.
Getting toward the mid-race section right now as Craig continues to lead.
The interesting question is how much Jeremy has left. You know, it's conceivable that he might be riding that puppy just as hard as he can ride it, and his little tongue might be hanging out because he's been sick.
Jeremy now starting to apply some pressure as we see Mike LaRocco in back. He's in 6th spot, chasing down Larry Ward and Lamson.
Now, this will be interesting because we know LaRocco's got speed. He should be able, I think, to catch and pass these guys. Big move there by Ward. He's down on the inside.
Can LaRocco get by that tandem now? Because they're pretty quick.
Well, yeah, when they're side by side like that, they don't leave any place for LaRocco to go. Ward's having a great year. Good starts. Ooh, look at LaRocco.
Jump by LaRocco. LaRocco getting by Lamson now.
He's after it. Boy, you talk about a racer. Mike LaRocco believes in one thing: pass people.
And winning. Second or third podium, okay. But he wants to win. He's not happy until he wins. Right now, Jeremy McGrath is looking for his 4th consecutive win here at the start of the season. He's chasing down Michael Craig.
It's just another day for me. Just going out there and knowing that you're the best.
I don't try and intimidate anybody.
I'm out here to win the race, and that's what I'm going to do.
You know, if anything, they probably try and intimidate me, but it doesn't work.
Try to just get a winning effort going so these guys can go out on the track and do what they need to do.
Definitely got to get a good start and, of course, be on the best bikes out there, which are Hondas.
Best bike color's red.
That's fast. Because they're mean.
These guys have to be the ambassador of the sport.
You don't win 10 races with luck.
Good, lucky, I don't mind that. Good and lucky, that's kind of cool.
There is no luck. Well, there's a little bit of luck.
The CRs are definitely the best bikes. They're just the best. They always win. And prove it.
The psychological effect that red has over other colors.
CRs